Hey, what's up, stream keepers, and welcome back to my channel. And in today's topic, I wanted to talk to you guys about stream tank cycling. And I have done a similar video which talks about the importance of the soft and hard water parameters during a tank cycle. However, this topic is more high level, and I just wanted to share with you guys the different ways of cycling your tank and some of the pitfalls on what you actually have to look out and what to expect, in terms of tank cycling. And before we go directly into today's topic, I actually wanted to give a shout out to John, who actually requested for this stream tank cycling video. He wanted to actually learn from what we actually do in terms of the method of stream tank cycling. So coming into today's topic about stream tank cycling, what I actually do, personally for cycling of the tanks is fairly straightforward. So the long story short is that I only use soil, water, and filtration for the start of the cycling process. And it has actually simplified over the years. In the past, when I first started off with cycling of the tanks, I I have seen and researched a lot of things about tank cycling, and what are some of the things that we actually add into the tank to actually help to kickstart or even hasten the process of cycling of tank. However, the the thing behind tank cycling is that there is the faster you want to rush the cycle of the tank actually do not get as ready as they should be ready. What does that really mean in that sense? So the long and short of it is that if your tank is not cycled well, and if you put streams into it, I think some of the streams that are more hardy, they can actually get away with it. But however, as you start to progress on to a much higher grade higher grade streams, then you bound to be you may face some difficulties in terms of your breeding process. You will also start to face things like streams are not breeding or things like that. Because while your water parameters may be absolutely spot on, however, there are things that that is so-called not within scope in terms of, for example, the soft water parameters of it. Like for example, is your tank does your tank actually have that ecosystem suitable for the streams to actually breed? So tank cycling is one of the very basic and very fundamental process of setting up your stream tank. And I understand that there's a lot of breeders out there who wants to rush and wants to quickly get the tank cycle so that they can actually put the streams in. So that part, I think, you know is something that you, over time, when you get more and more experience, you get more and more into the hobby, as more and more years into it, you will realize that a good tank that is cycled is much better than rushing through it. And one of the reasons for that is because if you cycle a tank well, when you put the streams in, the streams are, they they do very well, and they start to breed much easily. And for my way of cycling the tank is really straightforward. As you can see, all my tanks over here, it has the same process of cycling. It only depends on the time it requires for a tank to cycle. For example, I have been using ADA soy, both the normal type and the powder form. I also realized that the batches of the ADA powder is the ADA powder form. The ammonia is much stronger or much higher, and it takes a longer time for the tank to cycle. So it is good or bad. Actually, in my opinion, I actually want the ammonia. One of the reasons is that ammonia is actually the food source for the beneficial bacteria. So the higher the ammonia, the better it is for the cycle during the tank cycle. So ammonia shouldn't be present after the tank cycle. So if there's an ammonia spike, of course, then that's not good for the tank. So when we talk about the ammonia source, I actually like to have a higher ammonia level so that during the cycle, although it takes a longer time for that cycle to really happen or complete. However, I also will understand that at the back of my mind, I will be sure that because of the high ammonia and after it's being cycled, the beneficial bacteria in the tank, I mean in the filter media, is really good. So it's measured by the porosity of what I normally use. For example, right now the media that I use is Powerhouse. It has a very high porosity in that sense. So in terms of cycling, when do I do what I do is that for the first 30 days, it's just soil, water, filtration, and I usually turn on my lights, so that is a full cycle. And although I don't really need to turn on the lights during the cycling process, for example, for the first 2 weeks, you can switch it off and then turn it back on much later. One of the reasons is because actually beneficial bacteria prefer to be in a dark place. They actually colonize in a dark place. However, one area that we need to really look at is that beneficial bacteria, they don't thrive very well in low pH. So for example, anything below 6, the beneficial bacteria have a really difficult time to actually cultivate or propagate fast or multiply faster than when they are in pH neutral. So what that means is that the longer the cycle, the more stable your tank will be. And sometimes I cycle for 6 weeks, and I understand that if you don't have the patience, then what can you actually do to actually speed up the cycling process? Of course, there are some products in the market where you add in this beneficial bacteria directly into the tank and try to get to kickstart that beneficial bacterial colonization process. However, there is as long as there is ammonia in the tank, eventually your tank will be cycled. It only is a matter of time where the tank gets cycled. So one of the reasons that I don't personally use these products is because I rather let the tank cycle by itself over time, because there is already ammonia in the tank through the soil. So I just let it cycle, let it the filtration goes through. I don't change any water for the first 40 days. Once I measure that there's no ammonia in the tank, there's no nitrite in the tank, and then there's nitrate, then I understand that I know that the tank is already cycled. So here comes the second portion of tank cycling. So while the tank is cycled in terms of the hard parameters, like I discussed in one of the videos, the hard water parameters, you got it right. So there is no ammonia, there's no nitrite, and there's maybe 50 to 80 ppm of nitrate, and then you start to do your 20% water change or 50% water change before you start to add your streams in. However, what I do normally from day 30 onwards is that there are plants that I will actually introduce into the tank. For example, I introduce frog bits. I also introduce potted plants, and from there I can actually gauge and actually see in terms of the cycling, the stages of the cycling process. So for example, if in theory, right, usually when you hit about 20 days, the ammonia level will start to go down and the nitrite level will start to go down. However, if you put in, like for example, the Amazon frog beets and the roots start to burn off at day 30, then I will understand that, and from observation you can actually see that the tank is not ready, right? Because the roots is burnt. Once the roots is burnt, it means that there is something such as ammonia that is present in the tank that actually burns the roots. Even mosses, if you put mosses in and they don't thrive, they turn brown, that is some of the telltale sign that the tank is not ready. The entire cycling process would require even more time. So I think one very key important message is that you don't rush your cycling. Even if you use products, even if they tell you that if you use this product, if you use this soil, if you use this, it's going to speed things up. But at the end of the day, your tank is going to be very sterile. Your tank may be parameters right, hard water parameters right, but they are not ready for the streams. Ready means that, of course, different people have different baseline. For example, my baseline for ready is that it has to be tip top. It means that once the streams is in, and if they mold and they have settled, it means that they can actually breed. So that is my baseline of the tank water being cycled well. So the long and short of it again, is don't rush the cycle. And usually what I do at day 40 is I do that water change, and then I'll start to monitor again. And if they are not well, I will then wait for another 2 more weeks, which means it's 6 week cycle. And if it's still not well, if it's a much bigger tank and it requires more and more time for cycle because more soil is being used, then up to 8 weeks. Then you ask me, what am I going to do with an empty tank? So I think that's the part of the stream keeping or stream breeding process. You don't actually rush into such things, and one of the reasons is that if the tank is not cycled well, then there may be chances that the streams do not do very well in that. So even if, let's say, you do cycle them well, and after 6 weeks, you put your streams in and they do not breed, and then you start to keep adding things, and at the end of the day, what you actually add into the tank, remember that you are unable to actually remove them, because once it's in, you are not sure whether will it become ammonia, and will the tank be ready to actually convert all this ammonia into nitrite and then to nitrate. So I think there are many products in the market, and there needs to be an understanding of how to use it and why you need to use it. So the why is actually more critical than how you're going to use it, because if you cannot convince yourself, or there is actually no backing, or there's no supporting evidence that that is actually helpful, then it becomes very difficult, especially even for myself. There has been a lot of products in the market, and I think one of the reasons for me using a much simpler process right now is because at the end of the day, through observation, through multiple tanks, we can actually see that there are a lot of this addition or ammonia addition to the tank is after the cycle is actually not required. One of the key things that I think I do very differently from the rest of the breeders is that I do not really emphasize a lot on using like powder for setting up and all that. While we understand that there are some benefits in using like beneficial bacteria powder and all that, and even dosing liquid and all that, I think that at the end of the day, even if you don't use it, so the question to myself then was, what if I don't use it, right? What could be the worst that can happen? So in summary, nothing actually happen if I don't use it, right? Then the question is, then what's the purpose of using it? So as long as your streams are breeding well, you understand that the selective breeding process is what is required, and of course through good husbandry, which means that you do your water change regularly, you don't keep adding things into the tank, you let the tank and the streams do what they are supposed to do. Then at the end of the day, even a very well cycled tank, it will then be a very smooth journey for you. So in terms of cycling of tank, coming back to the topic, is that I only use soil, water, filtration, and that's about it, right? Then I use plants such as frog beets and some powder plants, some echinodorus, or you can use any of the plants that you actually like to keep. And these plants actually will give you an indication of how the water parameters are. And that's about it. There's no secret in terms of cycling of the tank. If your tank is not cycled well, or the tanks are not ready to actually adopt or have a lot of bio load, then of course then it will turn cloudy again, and then over a period of time, with the added ammonia, because when you put in a lot of bio load in the tank, there's a spike, there's a steady increase of ammonia, which means that the tank will undergo another mini cycle. And if let's say the tank is very well cycled with a lot of ammonia that has started during the cycle, then of course they are able to take the load. However, long story short is that they will not, if let's say there is a mini cycle that's going on, it's not going to harm the stream. It means that the tank water will be slightly cloudy for a couple of weeks, and once that mini cycle is done, then your tank water will be clear. But of course, you still have to change your water weekly because of the higher bio load. So thanks for watching this episode of stream tank cycling, and I hope that you guys ask the questions on some of the things that you guys are not sure about. And I often like to encourage people to question the process, because as you question or you challenge the process, then definitely you will start to think about why are you using this, why are you not doing that, and so on and so forth. So challenge the questions, challenge the norm, and then ask questions like why should you be doing this and not that. And of course the longer the study, or the longer the experiment, the outcome would then be more justifiable. For example, if let's say you want to do a tank cycle and you only have one tank versus somebody who has 50 tanks, who is trying different ways of tank cycling. Of course, the guy with the 50 tanks will have more information, have more data that he can actually share, versus if you have a few tanks. And I'm not saying that if you have one tank or you have 50 tanks, the level of cycling will be different. So what I'm trying to say here is that do challenge the norm. Do not just take the information and then just try and then use it, and then go ahead and keep using it, right? So always challenge the norm, always challenge the breeders, even or whatever, that all the content that I've put out. I think what I try to emphasize is really on the why, right? Why are you doing this? Because if you don't understand or you don't know the reason for doing it, then it's just a hearsay, or it's just more of a because somebody is doing this, that's why I'm going to do this, right? And that's not how I actually started this entire journey. And I really wanted to really truly understand the why behind things, and how are things, and why people do the things they are doing. So that actually encourages me to actually encourage you guys also to ask questions, to challenge the norm. Do not follow what we say that is true or not. So you guys can actually challenge it and ask why. And if you guys want to try and experience it, definitely go ahead and do it. And give us your feedback if let's say you have tried some of the methods and do not understand why you are doing that, or you are not seeing results. So definitely please come back to me for any of this clarification in terms of the knowledge and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So there's another example that I like to share, is that Joseph from Joker Stream is based in Finland, and he has adopted some of this water change methodology, and it has saved him a lot of time in terms of both energy and time. So both of this is a plus for him, because then he doesn't need to climb up and down to do the water change like what he did in the past. So I encourage everybody to make progress in the hobby, make step-by-step progress, because as you progress on, you'll start to learn more and more, and it becomes more and more interesting, right? And then you start to realize that, oh, actually, whatever that you have learned in the past may not be actually be what you are actually going forward, right? So the direction may change and stuff like that. So there is a lot of, there's a lot of controversies in the stream industry, what to expect, so I think be cognizant about what are some of the things that you are doing, and then question, just keep asking the question, why are you doing this? If you are able to really answer the question and have the background information that this actually helps with that, the cause and effect, then definitely, of course, then you're on the right track and you are able to see results in terms of your stream breeding process. So I'll stop here, guys, and thank you for watching. So if you have not subscribed to my video, please subscribe and give a thumbs up if you like this video, and until next time, peace out.